All right, ladies and gentlemen, fresh in the I Am podcast booth. You know what I mean? This is like I think the fourth or fifth episode, so it's still kind of evolving. And I'm grateful to have you on the show, man.
I'm grateful to be
How you
here,
feel,
man.
man?
I'm loving this booth, man. This booth is so comfortable.
It is, right?
I'm in a diner after
You
a
know
comedy
what's?
show.
Let me tell you, and that's the thing. It's like because you know DJ Nash, DJ and I would often have breakfast or lunch or whatever, and end up at a diner, and I would always want the booth.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, and so for me, the booth feels like the space to go. There's a couple of places, obviously the Comedy Cellar, the Olive Tree.
Yeah.
That's kind of world renowned
Yeah.
for comics. But there's also, I forgot the name of the diner that was two doors down from the Laugh Factory. In between sets, we would go over there and grab something to eat.
You know, Jerry's was my little spot.
Jerry's was always the spot, but which one? The one in the
other
valley, the one on the other side of the hill?
You know what? We went to the first one I was going to when I got out to LA was the one on is that Beverly?
Yeah,
Right down the street, right there. That was the main one.
yeah.
So that was right in the vicinity of all the clubs.
Well, that
and
one
stuff.
used to pop.
That was everybody.
Yeah, that was late night.
That was like late night for whatever was going on in town.
When did you come out here? When did you come out to LA?
Like 2001 maybe.
Mm.
So it was a minute. 2001, I think I was here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what brought you out? Is there a specific project that brought you out, or you just like making the transition from?
You know what it is, man. You know how New York is. As amazing as New York is, you know, it's a ceiling to New York.
Mm-hmm.
So when you've already done everything you can do in New York, unless you want to keep your ass there and do some damn soap operas, but other than that and late night stuff, and if you're not on SNL, you kind of limited. You know, most of the cats I knew in New York became road comics because you know New York is limited. If you didn't want to leave New York, you know you were limited as far as TV,
Right.
Because TV wasn't a lot of big stuff going on there outside of that stuff right there. Then you make that transition of okay, I go to LA, I peek in here and there, but when I got to land for sure, you got to make that decision on transitioning and relocating to LA for more opportunities.
Right.
You know, when I got flown out for In Living Color, you know, I got a chance to really see it and feel it a little bit and feel the process of being auditioning and for something on a real set. You know, I peeked in and out, but man, to come here and really feel it like, oh wow.
But when did you? So you came out to test or to audition for In Living Color?
To audition. I had auditioned in New York, and they flew a bunch of us out here, and like six of us.
So that wasn't the original one. That was the relaunch, though, right?
That was the second. I guess the second group because that's when Keenan and everybody kind of that's when the show kind of shut down. Everybody left.
Right. Exactly.
So I don't know what was going on as internally, but we were comics who came out. And
who else came out that you're aware of?
Oh man,
is that when Reggie McFadden came out and did? I remember he did.
Reggie did it. I can't remember if Reggie did it before or after, but that was like myself, Cool Bubba, Derek Fox, a few of us, man. Who else was on that? But it was like 4 or 5 of us, and yeah, man, we had a great time, man.
Was that the first thing that you flew out to come audition for?
No, man, I came out. I was in and out here and there. You know, I came out for Homeboys in Outer Space. Was the Homeboys in Outer Space?
Homeboys in Outer Space. Flex's show, right? Flex and
came
Dougie Doug.
Yeah. No, it was Flex and Daryl. What's his name? Oh, darn it, actor dude. He was on Different World, I think. Right?
Wait,
what's his name? Damn it, Daryl. Damn, I forgot his name. Light skinned brother with the mustache. Damn it.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So it was him and Flex.
Daryl Bell. I
think Daryl Bell, yeah. Him and Flex were on the show together. So I actually came out, auditioned.
I hope I'm not wrong. I hope it's.
I think that's who it was.
Daryl Bell was on.
Who was on Different World?
A Different World. Yeah, that's Daryl Bell.
Oh,
yes. Daryl Bell.
Yeah,
shout out to Daryl Bell.
Shout out. So yeah, flew out for that. But see, man, I'm gonna tell you something. When you come out here on fumes, it's a whole different thing. You know, I didn't come out here with like, LA is weird. You know, you got to really know somebody here to like grab you from the airport and drop you off here and take you here. You got to really have a loyal person who's down to go to that airport and pick you up.
Because it's different from New York.
It's
New York
different.
has an infrastructure that supports being able to move about. The trains, all of that stuff is easy. When you get to LA and you don't know it, everything is everywhere. Yeah. It's all spread out.
I took the damn bus to that damn audition.
Really?
I took the bus.
That's
bro.
insane.
That's insane. Like 3 buses to get to that joint. Because I came from the airport. You got to remember, I had to take a few buses to get all the way into that side of town. I believe we were at the audition was at Paramount. I believe.
Okay.
If not Paramount, it was
Wait, no. It would have been Fox, right? In Living Color was a Fox project, so it would have been Fox Studios.
I'm not positive.
Okay.
It was there because I know that lot and I know the entrance where I went in at.
Yeah.
And for what I remember, it wasn't Paramount.
Okay.
You're right. It wasn't Paramount. It might have been Fox, but I believe it was before. You know how they redid everything?
Mm-hmm.
They redid the entrance way. They changed everything. So back then, it looked totally different.
Mm-hmm.
What you see now is different from what it was back then. But I do remember seeing somebody. I forgot who it was. But it was somebody who I saw. And I was standing outside. And who was it? Damn it. I forgot who it was. But I was standing outside. Even if I do remember who it was, I ain't gonna blast them like that. But somebody who I knew pulled up and was like, "You good? Man, I gotta head back to the airport, man. Da da da. All right, man. Be cool."
And didn't give you a ride. So now you back on the bus.
I had to do what I had to do. You know, and I think I might have even, like was running late. I think I might have had to just come out the pocket, man, get that cab because I think I was like tight on time going back. But I do remember the audition process. You know, that was really cool.
Who was in the room? Keenan was. Oh, well, you said that was when the split was happening. So
yeah, I don't remember all the details, but I do remember auditioning in New York, and I do remember him flying out a bunch of us. You know, but it was so long ago at this point, man, that woo, and that was before I came out here. That was all right.
Like, so wait, before
that was just me coming out for that.
Yeah.
Then I went back, and then I came back a few years later.
Okay, but so before let's before we get to you being here in LA and like the project that really took you over the top. Yeah. You started in New York, right?
NYC, Uptown Comedy Club. Yep.
Okay. And who did you start with?
Oh man, Maceo, Ratso, Kevin.
Ratso? Who is Ratso?
Flex. Tracy Morgan came through.
Corwin Moore.
Cool Bubba Ice.
Montero Ivy.
Ian Edwards. Man, it was such a unique place. Hamburger. Derek Fox. I mean, it was such a unique thing starting there because, you know, we're talking about before Def Comedy Jam, before BET Comedy View, before all this stuff. You're talking about Harlem. You're talking about the only thing popping big was the Apollo. You're talking about anybody and everybody would pop through there. Charlie Barnett would come through. Chris Rock would come through. Bill was also in that mix with us. Yeah, man. We're talking about this is where
Chris would play the Uptown Comedy Club.
People would pop in all the time. You're talking about early Chris, early everybody.
Yeah,
anybody would pop through as far as stand-up comedians. Reggie McFadden was always there. Who else was always there? Who else would pop in? Damn it, man! So many legendary people would pop through and just do sets, man.
White comics. Jim Brewer.
Jim Brewer was there,
but he did the TV show. Was he doing spots? That's what I'm saying.
Early.
Him and what's the Rob McNaughty? Were they doing that club before the TV show?
No. Probably the later years of it, but I'm talking about for real. You know, National Black Theater, Uptown Comedy Club on a Sunday was legendary. And
so wait, was the club
Brown brothers? You know,
Kevin and what's his brother's name?
Andre.
Yeah.
So,
and they mama running the door.
Yep. And we're talking about a line around the corner, around the block.
So was the club in the same spot where they taped the TV show?
Around the corner was a TV show where they
did
did a new building around the corner that was a row of, a row of new businesses. And
Okay.
they got one of the spaces, and that's where they shot out of.
Got it.
Yeah. So, man, you're talking about a time period where, this is where I always feel like I wish that the generation after could have really understood the groundwork that was done, because it was something very unique about.
Why? Why do you wish
Because
they?
it nurtured your comedy. It
Mhm.
fed it to you
Mhm.
in a raw form. It was a different mix of people who all, one thing I will say about Uptown Comedy Club, it was impossible to steal jokes. It was impossible to steal a
Shit.
persona, because you know why? Everyone had a unique, but that club, the audience was so smart in those days, where they knew when you were genuinely funny, and they knew when to, how to feed you and listen to you, and understood that all these comics coming on stage are very unique and very different.
Who was?
I'm not saying they want people stealing
Yeah, I was
stuff,
gonna say,
but
there's-
to be in that circle of, let's just say 30 or 40 comics, right? That circle of us who came to the workshops, right?
Mhm.
Who worked on our material, who talked about our jokes, who punched up stuff and helped each other out, was different than just going out to clubs and dealing with other comics.
Mhm.
But that little mix of guys, we all had, it's almost like we were all superheroes, and we all had unique powers. And none of our powers would work together. You know what I mean? We had to be individuals.
Mhm.
And that's what it felt like for me. I never experienced anybody going on stage and doing your exact bit that you just did last week, because the audience
Yeah. Well, they
was our audience that came every week.
That audience retention at that club was just amazing.
And Monteira Ivy was the greatest host to me
Was
in
he?
comedy. Oh my
See,
God.
I don't know. I know Monterio from.
Monty was the host every week. I mean, I tell you, it was absolutely. I mean, he just the best intros, the best everything.
He cared about comedy.
About comedy, and what was happening there was so unique. I don't think it could ever happen like that again, unless there's some other art form that we create that will allow that to be fed. Your talents to be fed in a different way. So I think, as far as stand up, that's I don't know. I don't know where comedy would be, because this had to start somewhere. And to me, without, Uptown Comedy Club, without the one out here, where
Robin Harris.
Martin and everybody,
Jesus, it'll come to me in a second.
Yeah.
Michael Williams's club.
Yeah,
Comedy Act Theater.
Yeah. Without these places,
we both getting old. Our dementia setting in early, and we need to take some vitamins.
We getting old, but in that sense, I don't know where comedy would be at if all that didn't happen, right? And not saying Def Comedy Jam would have never happened, or BT Comedy would have never happened, but in the form that it was presented to the world, would have been a little different. Because
I don't know if even if Def Jam happened, if it did not happen in New York City, there's no way in the world.
There's no way it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm not sitting here today if that doesn't happen in New York City.
Right now, things would have been different. This whole path into what black comedy was, it takes on a different form.
Sure,
it's different, and who knows what form it would have been in. But I do know that doing Def Comedy Jam was like, it was meeting people, comics from around the country.
Wait, hold on. So let me ask you this first, then we'll get to Def Jam.
Yeah.
Who was the standout at the time at the Uptown Comedy Club? Who was the person in that room that everybody said, "Oh, this dude is a comedy star"?
Man, it's weird, man. I think Flex broke out of that real nice. Got a chance to do some amazing stuff.
But here's the thing. Come on. Flex wasn't a great comic. No, but I'm saying, nope. What I'm asking is, and I'm not disparaging Flex at all, but I'm saying,
you're talking about
who, when Cats came
I look at this.
on stage.
I look at this. Here's what I look at. Stand-up is only a vehicle, in my point of view. Stand-up is a vehicle that you drive to get to where you want to be at in entertainment, whether it's on a TV show,
I don't.
whether it's in movies.
Yeah, but
Tracy
no.
ended up on Martin. Tracy was funny as shit, and everybody gets. So wait.
By what you're just saying now, you're saying that the art form that we both started in and love should be used as a vehicle to get to other things. That's crazy to me. I can't.
No. I'm not saying it should be. I'm saying for some of us, it becomes a vehicle to get to other places.
I think other opportunities, but JB, stop.
It will allow you.
Other opportunities can come from stand-up, but to sit here, when you first started doing stand-up, were you interested in being a pure stand-up? Were you interested in being a great stand-up comic, or did you say to yourself, "I'm gonna do stand-up comedy because I think I can get a TV show, or I can get in movies"?
I did stand-up, but I knew the stand-up was going to be something that I enjoyed to do in the moment. Stand-up is not going to be something I felt like it's going to be something I'm going to do forever. I thought I'd use stand-up as a vehicle because I wanted to write, I wanted to be in movies, and I wanted to be on TV. And you can't do that stuff in a movie. That's just your performance as a stand-up comic. None of that, you can't take none of that stuff with you. All you can take with you is your timing, your presence, your ability to hear what people love about you. You can use all these elements that become what a stand-up comic is built on and take those elements that you as stand-up is built on and use those other places. That's why I feel. Now, as much as I love stand-up, I wanted to be on the big screen so bad.
Yeah.
I wanted to meet the right people. I wanted to make those people laugh who were producers, who were directors, who were writers. I wanted to make them people laugh. I wanted to be on SNL. So think about this. I don't want to bounce all over the place, but everything that
it wouldn't be you if you didn't bounce all over the place.
Every reason that I wanted to do stand up as a vehicle, I can say worked. I was sitting at home watching SNL, saying I'm going to be on that one day. And so I made it to SNL.
But you made it to SNL as a writer, correct?
Everything.
But you wrote on SNL.
But I had 4 jobs when I worked. I was also on camera a lot. So I was on camera a lot.
But did you get hired as a performer? Or did you get hired as a writer?
I got 4 checks when I got there.
Nope, that's not the question.
But look,
did you get hired as a performer?
No,
or as a writer?
I auditioned.
Okay,
I made it to the last 3 people.
Yeah,
I did my NBC test. I didn't make it out of the 3 people. Keenan and Finesse, myself were the last 3. Keenan and Finesse made the show.
Yeah,
they brought me back as a writer.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I'm not disparaging that.
I'm just saying
that's great.
I'm just saying there is a way of thinking ahead, right? Not making your stand up a shortcoming, making your stand up be something that that's uniquely yours, that people can gravitate towards and say, I can see this dude in a TV show or a movie. So I use stand up it really has to be this thing you feel. Because stand-up is a unique thing that everybody can't do. It's not like music. It's not like anything else.
Hey, man, listen.
One thing that compares to it is poetry. Even that is not the same thing. Because stand-up grows a different way. Stand-up becomes a lot of you. You know what I mean? Your personality is attached to what you say and what you do as a stand-up comic. So I truly believe that there's really a lot to this game that I don't think you're ever going to be able to explain it completely to people who do it now. They will never understand what we had to do and what we did to get to this point. They will never understand that because you got to see it to understand it. You got to get on a train to go to the club to understand it. You got to see people standing on line to understand it. You got to see people stomping their feet and loving this energy that you're feeling, something that's not on TV in that capacity yet. It's not on TV yet. No Def Comedy Jam, no BET. Yeah. None of this shit existed.
Yeah.
This is raw people coming out. by word of mouth. No social media. No nothing.
Do you think stand-up was better then than it is now based on that?
Hell yeah. It's different. You're giving people an experience that they've never seen before, that they've never seen in that way before. Right now, it's so much of it, and everybody's doing it, and there are funny-ass people who don't do stand-up, who do skits and things. Humor is taking on a different shape now. Humor is taking on a whole different shape.
Mm-hmm.
What we had to do back then is you had to you gave people to this day. They can talk about people they loved to this day. You know how many people I run into once in a while, and they'll bring up a bit I did in like 95.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting here like, God, part of me is saying, God damn, I'm old. And a part of me is saying like, yo, that just shows you how powerful it's a different form of social media.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Because, okay, you can see something on your phone and be like, I show my wife this, I afford this to somebody else. Same thing happens, but it's word of mouth.
Oh, yeah.
It's word of mouth. It's different. It was a different form of it, a prehistoric form of it, but still a different form.
Well,
if people can remember, if you walk to the airport and you see somebody and say, yo, you came to my college, yo, like 96, I'll never forget when you said this.
This is my point. Is to me, you're hitting on something very important. The ability to take a phone, use social media, and take these clips and show somebody something is a completely different experience from the excitement of you came to my school in 94 and them showing somebody else the bit that you do with the shoes leaning on the side and going around in a circle. Yeah. And so the ability to use that person as an ambassador for your bit, and now they perform your bit for you. That's different from, oh, here, look at this. Let me send you this video.
It's a different thing. That's what I mean by when you feel things raw, in the true essence of what it is. That's why being in the moment is so important for comics. You know, when people in the audience doing this way while you performing, it's the most irritating thing in the world because they're not listening to you. Mm-hmm. They taping you so they can listen to it later and look at it later. They're not listening in the moment. They're just doing this.
Yeah.
They ain't hollering. They ain't stomping their feet. They ain't clapping their hands.
Because they're not fully engaged.
They're not engaged.
Mm-hmm.
It's become a show.
They're in their brain while the performance is happening. They're saying to themselves, "Oh, I'm going to show so and so this.
That's
I'm
all
going
they're
to."
thinking
so
about.
they're not.
My mama gonna trip.
Yeah.
You know that's all. They ain't listening to you. They're not engaged, and now everybody else. It's distracting to other people. And other people are looking at you holding your camera up, and looking at it becomes. See people looking at other stuff, and like, yo, I'm on stage.
Yeah, I'm working
right now. That's why people take phones away because they want you engaged.
Of course,
what they looking, what they saying, and that's people who put the work in. They know what it is. They know what it feels like to have people all engaged in what you are saying, what you are doing, what your art form is. You know, this is a true art form that takes on the world, the issues of the world, the issues of your home, the issues of your neighborhood, the issues of your own issues that you take and you take your own issues and you put that into your material. You put that into who you are, and people, it's you're showing people you on that stage. This is. It's an act, but it's you that you take these bits, whatever you're going through in your life, and you make it relatable to people. And I think that's a unique form I feel like that comedy started in. It's a unique thing that I feel like you can't.
Well, you can use the stage. Yeah. Here's the thing. To have
your therapist, and you're also getting therapy at the same time.
Listen, to have the art form available to you, to be able to use as an outlet for all things that you go through your life, good and bad, to me is a very powerful thing, which leads me to this question. What is the most challenging thing that you've had to deal with as you've continued to do stand-up comedy? Because there's some stuff that I am aware of, and even something personally that I kind of witnessed that I'll come back to, but I want to find out from you first, like what you've had to manage.
Being different, I had to really manage sticking to what I am and who I've who I want to show people on stage. Now, I remember back in the day, I remember when I was starting out, I was so different from everybody else.
What was different? What was different?
I was 100% completely physical. 100%.
There's other physical comics, though.
No. I think there's a lot of physical comedy.
But why were you a physical comic?
I do think my style of physical comedy and how my brain used to work, how I used to commit to everything and every bit I would do. I would overly commit to it, and I remember every time I would do a show, people used to love my stuff so much, especially, the phrase a comics comic. The comics comic thing is a phrase that people created because comics would love to sit there and watch you perform.
Sure.
They would go crazy over you, like, oh my God, this dude's crazy. They used to introduce me as, now I need y'all to listen. This dude different. He's different. So you just got to pay attention, y'all. Put your hands together. You know what I mean? And they would say that all the time because these were comics who were hosting the show. And they would want people to really experience JB Smoove. You know what I mean? I remember I used to do the Acapulco Film Festival. I did it 3 years in a row, which is now the
Black Film Festival. Yeah, American Black Film Festival.
They moved it from Acapulco back to Miami.
Yeah,
which I thought Acapulco was unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Just unbelievable. But I remember I did a show that I did 3 years in a row, and one year I did it. I remember some execs was there, and one guy was like, he said, I ran into him. He said, I ran into so-and-so, man. He missed the show. He asked me how the show was. This is the person told about the show.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He was telling him about the show. And he said, how was JB? I mean, there was some big wigs on that show, too. He said, Jimi Hendrix.
Mm.
He said, like Jimi Hendrix. When you have a show that you feel like was dope, but can you do that exact thing again? Are you going to have that exact audience again? Are you going to have that exact moment again? Are you going to have that exact rhythm again?
You'll never have the same moment. The same moment will never exist.
But here's why I say this. You're trying to understand, how can I make that cake the exact same way every fucking time?
Mm-hmm.
That every Thanksgiving people come over like, yo, please tell me you made that cake.
Yeah.
That's what you want. You want people to taste you all the time.
Whoa.
When you walk out there,
taste you all the time.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want them to be like, oh, my fucking, no.
Yeah.
You want them elbowing people next to them like, yo, this motherfucker crazy.
Yeah.
This the dude I was telling you about. You want this right here. Because that feeds you. And when you can see that shit, you're like, man, I'm about to murder these motherfuckers right quick.
Okay, so
that to me is what I mean by, if you can sell that every single time, people see you past your stand-up. That's what I mean by the vehicle. They see you past that. They see you like, yo, how do you take this and you put that there, but not do material? How do you take this and put that there?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Put that with this person.
But do you think the consumer, you think the fan of stand-up comedy wants that to happen, or do you think Hollywood, you think film and television wants to be able to take what that is and apply it to a medium that they can exploit on a larger scale?
Look, we know huge people who are just better comics than they are actors. We know this.
Sure.
Because it's just what it is.
But wait, listen to my question.
So we gotta.
You just said
right
that the fan wants that to happen. That whole look at this, and they want to. I'm challenging you that I don't think the fan wants that to happen. I think Hollywood says, oh, JB has these people cracking up. Can we take what he does out of the comedy club space and put him in a film or put him in a TV show? Because then we can cast a wider net. We can exploit and make more money off of JB if we can now have him go from stand-up guy to sitcom star doing the same thing differently. That's a very specific question.
Taking your cadence, taking all the things that you naturally do on stage it naturally will fit.
Your storytelling,
into,
all of those things, and putting them into this. Look at Chris Tucker.
Yeah.
Right? From there to Rush Hour.
Yeah.
It's him telling jokes and people structuring something in Hollywood saying, instead of putting them in a comedy club or a theater and making $100,000, we can make 20, 50, 100 million.
Right.
So that's my thing. I don't think it's the fans. Not that the fans won't follow you into the new medium.
You have to.
In order for you to grow, yes. In order for a studio not to lose money, yes.
Yeah,
but they don't have
with
to.
An audience. You got to come with an audience, right? They're gonna follow you, and your audience will definitely embrace you. And you got to realize. And to me, filmmaking and TV is all about the marketing of what's next and what's new, not the same old.
Shit, they keep remaking stuff, JB. So that's not true.
That's what I'm saying.
They keep remaking the same IP.
Which is why I use this. Which is why I use this medium, right? And what we're talking about right now. When I say the vehicle, that means you have to expand yourself also. So when you expand yourself, you understand the inner workings of what TV and film is. You understand what writing in the writing room is. You understand all these things. All these elements are just things you can put in your pocket. You know what I mean? These are things that you can walk into a room with. These are things that are going to allow you to recognize things in the moment because you're doing it already. And that's what I mean by you can be stuck in the club, you can be stuck on the road all you want. But if you really want to go to the next level, you have to understand the business of what this is. And that's why I use the vehicle statement, because there's people out there who I know want to do more than what they're doing. You know, who wants to be in a club every night? I know you like
Dave Attell does. Dave Attell does.
But
Dave Attell wants to be in the club every night.
But there's also, I'm not saying anybody's doing this.
No TV, no film.
There is
Greer Barnes.
But you gotta look at people. Now, what if there was no social media? What if there was no vehicle to promote you and push you further? You just basically are just
you're dead in the water.
Dead in the water, and you're feeding off of what's in the moment.
All right. So let me go back to something, because I asked you about challenges, and
my challenges were
no. Let me.
You can.
There was a speech impediment that you talked about before, and my question is, did your speech impediment inform or influence you to become a more physical comic? Right? Because 80 to 90% of your stuff is set up bit and then 20 minutes of the same thing. And that's not a criticism, because you found a way to, you're the only, like one of the only people that I know can take a bit and literally like.
Call me the milkman. It goes.
They call you the milkman.
It's called the milkman, because I can milk anything, because know why? I don't write jokes out completely. I don't have a specific way that it has to end. I don't have a specific way it has to end. I never write my jokes like that. I work in the moment with people. I write on stage, and there is, of course, you got jokes that will end how you want it to end, because it has a big ending, but there is a way of listening to the audience very intently to what this specific audience in front of you is laughing at tonight. Every show is different. Some shows is facial expressions. I mean, this is my experience. Some shows is, facial expressions, the physicality, the delivery, the cadence. Every night is something different. I mean, even in the same city. You're saying like, damn, this crowd loves when I do this. Or this crowd loves when I do this. And intently listening to, you're not a robot on stage all the time.
Yeah.
I'm a horrible robot. I use anything at my disposal. I use a curtain. I use the microphone stand. I use the stage height. I use the light. I use anything and everything in that room. The elephant in the room will be used
Say the elephant will be used.
You have to, because it's something that you got to connect with your audience, man. And look, man, I'm just a country boy from North Carolina, man. You know what I mean? Who raised in the projects of Mount Vernon, New York.
When did you come up to New York from North Carolina?
I was a kid, man, 5 years old.
Oh, 5. Okay.
Yeah. So for me, doing something like, understanding how to make people laugh is the number one thing I believe. If you're going to be on camera, if you're going to be a comedian, You know, and I think you have to tackle things as far as what you do. If you want to do stand up, you have to you have to perform how you're going to perform. You can't try to mimic other styles or change yourself completely where you're out of your element. You know, people going to get you or they're not going to get you. You know, and I truly believe, you know, I'm in a different place now because I'm
Successful.
I'm watered down.
Successful will do that to you.
Yeah, I'm watered down.
Success will take away the hunger.
Someone told me that one day. Someone told my brother, they said, damn, man, your brother killing it. But, man, when that motherfucker was hungry,
yeah,
he was a fucking monster.
Yeah.
Like, I truly believe, you know how Mike Tyson used to say, you know, can nobody beat me when I'm right?
Mm-hmm.
I had that mentality. So even when you saw me at my most physical, my most loud, my most brash, I can go even higher than that because anytime I had to, I would go bigger. And I would try to really, you know, embrace who you are. You know what I mean? And the good thing about comedy is we sacrifice ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what we had going on in our life, you know, no matter, you know, we find a way to not mask, but we find a way to give you, the audience, our true, who we truly are, right? We give them who we truly are. And people respect that because you know why? Everybody in the audience got shit going on.
Right.
This is just a fucking release for them. You know what I mean? And when they see somebody that's like them or that they see is not perfect or they see is
who's also going through something, right?
Yeah. We all have something, you know, to give yourself every time you jump on that stage, to give a piece of yourself every time, no matter what's going on in your own life, and you help and you make people laugh is a very unique thing, man, that people got to understand also. So no matter what you're going through your own self, you have a different, you know, you have thick skin.
Yeah.
You got a different tolerance, a higher tolerance for pain. You know what I mean? You got a high tolerance for pain. You know what I mean? I'm talking about, man, I used to be bullied when I was a kid, all this shit. But somehow I found this unique thing, you know, people are tough now, tougher back then. It's a different environment I think we grew up in. Now everybody's so, and that's the argument about comedy. Do we just stick to our guns and do what's funny, or do we sit there and baby people like they never heard a joke before?
Right.
Do we sit there and let you come into a club knowingly what you're gonna see and still complain about what you fucking see? Are we gonna keep embracing people who do that? Keep your ass outside. Keep walking by and go someplace else.
So wait,
you know that if you.
What's the answer to that? Do you adjust your stand-up to suit the times, or do you remain authentic to who you are?
You do you. That's why I talk about people on stage who have just as many battles that you have, if not more. But somehow they find a way to still go on stage and make you laugh and make you feel good about being a human being, not being. You know, I did a show one night at a college. No, it wasn't a college, it was a theater. And man, I was on stage performing, and then there was a dude in a wheelchair in the front row where he was sitting in the aisle.
It was a dude in a wheelchair in the front row, yes.
It was loud as hell. Ah! Yeah. JB a fool!
Yeah.
Ah! He's hollering.
Yeah.
That motherfucker made me laugh so much, right? After the show, he came up to me and said, yo, man, why you ain't fuck with me?
Yeah.
Why you ain't say a bit about me, man? I hate when motherfuckers act like I don't exist. Like I'm not like they be feeling bad for me. I hate when motherfuckers feel bad for me.
Okay.
Man. He said, yo, man, if I'm gonna come to your show, man, I want you to clown me, man. I want
Yeah,
I
but
want to
there's
feel
a
like I'm in the
difference.
room.
Here's the thing.
Some people have that
difference.
tolerance.
There's a difference between. So I've been on stage and I remember roasting this dude that was in a wheelchair because he came in late.
Right.
And I was like, oh, you think like I can't remember like the jokes is, oh, did you pay? Like you didn't even take up a chair. Do you have to pay if like so I found humor, but he wasn't looking for me to roast him, right? There's a difference to me, like if he's like being loud or somebody is trying to call attention to themselves and they need that attention, I always like 99% of the time I'll steer away from them because again that's where it gets a little tricky because if you allow one person like I'm sorry like in this new space with
It's
roast
different.
comics and Nate does it, Matt Rife does it. There's these
crowd work
comics,
style.
these crowd work comics. Now
Crowd
people
work
are showing up to be the show.
Right.
85 South, Carlos and DC and Chico, like that's their show. People show up to be a part of the show, and maybe that's where the change is. You know what I mean? But for me, it's always been I don't mind giving the audience a piece of attention, but I've prepared material to come do a show for you. And so that's where there's a little bit of a disconnect
That's
for me.
the elephant in the room thing I talked about. Do you ignore the elephant in the room for the sake of, of being politically correct or whatever? You know what I mean? If you're in the audience and the dude walks in there with a Trump hat, Trump shirt, and a flag, do you ignore this motherfucker? People gonna look at you like you crazy. Like, yo, I know goddamn well you see this motherfucker.
Yeah, but here's the thing. That person is doing that for attention. That person is doing that specifically because they want attention.
Of course. But I'm using that as an example, right? Not that this dude in the wheelchair is dressed like that. I'm not saying ride this dude the whole show.
Yeah.
I'm saying make him feel like he is a regular late ass person coming up in here.
Yeah.
Whether he was walking or not. Like, yo, you know damn well what time the show start. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying you just I'm not saying there is a look, you're in a room that caters to making people
are there to laugh.
All of us are in this room together.
Yes.
This is something that we are all experiencing at the same time.
Yes.
Right? Somebody gonna go, if you didn't even say nothing, somebody would have said, driving home in their car would have said, yo, I can't believe that motherfucker rolled his ass up in there late as hell like that. They would have said some shit about it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't think it's something that the audience has to have a connection to you, and I do think, I just feel like, I don't know, man. But getting back to, I do think in comedy, no matter what, as far as stand-up comedians, we built for this. We built to be different. We built to be a vessel for people. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, see, for me, being a country boy from New York, talk crazy, and especially in my early years, man, you know what? I didn't know what I was going to be able to do, but I just knew I was me, no matter how my posture or how I spoke.
You went to school for architecture, right?
All my stuff. I just realized that, yeah. I went to school I was an art major and a engineering drafting major, double major.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
And so at what point did you go, I'm in college and I'm a double major, and now when did you pivot and go, I want to get on stage?
I've just always been a funny person.
Yeah, but when did you say I'm getting on stage? When did you?
My first time ever on stage was at my in college at a dating game in the student center. So I got really, really in a great position and hung out with some funny ass people, man, who would never get on stage, but who were fucking hilarious, and it fed me, fed my comedy thirst. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they had a dating game, and one of my boys said, "Yo, I dare you to go up there." I said, "Shit, I'll go up there. I don't care."
Yeah.
Man, I went on that stage as one of the 3 bachelors, man, and lit that shit up. Mm-hmm. This is not doing stand-up. This is me just fucking saying crazy shit for every answer, that the girl was asking. Man, I lit that shit up. People were stomping their fucking feet and, oh, it's too crazy as hell.
Yeah.
You know, every answer was crazy. And the girl ended up picking me. But shit, I was already the man now.
Yeah.
I'm the man on campus right now.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm thinking like, you pick me.
Yeah.
You should be, when you're ready to go out, you should talk to me because you picked me. I said, why would I chase you around? I said, man, I'm good.
Yeah.
Man, look, I was the man for the whole semester. Like, yo, that's all I heard the whole semester. Yo, that shit was, when you said this, oh, I lost it. You know what I mean? So that, it's kind of like that, remember the Eddie Murphy special? And the Ding Ding came out, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
That's
Eddie,
the opening
Eddie.
to, wait, that's the opening to Raw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eddie. I felt like that, man. It's like, you know, that was my wake-up call, like, yo.
Yeah, so I have something,
really
something
special.
special.
You know, I ran out of money, had to go back to New York. I said, I'm going to take a semester off, save some money, get a job, da-da-da-da. And, man, I just started doing stand-up. And I'm going to try it.
And did you go back to school and finish?
No, I didn't go back.
Yeah, okay.
Shit just went another direction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I started doing NACA and all these colleges and all these shows, and it just became this thing, man. I was like, yo. And, yo, I feel like,
Yeah.
you know, I feel like this was my, like that flicker and lit something in me. And, you know, I just really learned how to embrace in my own skin, embrace what gift that you have, you know, your compassion for people, you know, your ability to make people smile and laugh on stage or not, you know, your ability to be a real person, have, you know, understand the complexities of what this is, you know, and you gotta realize as times change around you, the world changed 20, 30 times since we started doing stand-up.
Of course.
I mean, complete change.
Mm-hmm.
Like, unbelievable. I'm like, it's crazy what we've seen in this path leading up to now. And happily to, you know what, I feel like all the things I've ever done and all the success I've had, I feel like I'm still in this unique place of trying to remain like clay. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like just continue to mold myself.
Malleable.
You know? Yeah, and really understand and see clearly what this is.
Yeah.
That we are in every moment and see it and be able to always attach myself to different eras of entertainment, different things that have changed and different things that have remained the same. The base still remains the same. It's just that now you're building something different on top of it. But I do think all the elements that we spoke about today, all the elements that we experienced, still ring true because it's in its rawest form.
Got you.
You know, no matter what's going on in technology and all these things that we have, I still stick to the vehicle. I still stick to the vehicle phrase because I still feel like you're driving what you're driving, and you know how to drive it. You know what I mean? You know how to drive it. You know you got to pump that damn gas. You know you got to tap the gas every time before you turn the key. You know sometimes the shit don't run right. You got to hold your foot on the brake and the gas at the same time. You know all these things about yourself. You know, and I feel like that's where stand-up's always going to be. You know, if we're going to talk about stand-up, but we also talk about the vehicle. I'm telling you, the vehicle works. You really have got to understand. I'm sorry, man.
No, sorry.
I'll turn this shit off. Okay. So I still go back to the vehicle because somehow, some way, you are a salesman. A salesman can sell anything. A good salesman can sell any goddamn thing. because he knows people. He
Mhm.
knows. He listens intently to a person's answer and listens intently to what he feels like they need. And I think that is being able to sell yourself in a room, being able to, you know, connect with people on a set, connect with people, and all these different things. I feel like the the, the vehicle statement works. Now I, I will say, I'm sorry, man.
You're a popular man, JB Smoove.
You tell somebody I need an hour.
Yeah.
If I go over an hour,
Yeah.
they on. Oh, you said
Yeah.
you said 10 o'clock or whatever. So I say this because constantly, and I'm just using this to motivate other comics and other entertainers who wants to do what we do. And there is no timeline to anything. There's no timeline to success. Success ends when you want to end it. To me,
Success ends when you want to end it.
I use success because there's too many elements of what we do for someone to be stuck and frustrated and depressed over not having the movement that they see for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people abandon, a lot of people go into a hole, a lot of people resort to drugs and depression and all
Alcohol,
these things. Alcohol, which
sex,
is the
all of the
comedian's
addictions.
lifestyle. Look, we lost a lot of people. You know what I mean? And if you think about it, if you think back to who they were like 20 years ago.
When you say a lot of people, you mean comics.
Yeah, a lot of comics. If you think about them, how we lived 20 years ago and who they were 20 years ago, you'll say, damn, I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised. Some people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I know some people who lived hard back then.
Yeah.
And I used to be like, God damn, who you going to be?
Let's just name off the top of our head 10
50.
comics that have passed away that we knew. Let's just off the top of our head. You go one, I'll go one.
Oh, shit, man. Gonna make me go crazy here. And this is just lost period.
No, just lost period. I'm not. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying comics that we knew that are no longer here.
I love me some Patrice.
Patrice is gone. I'll go next. James Hanna's gone.
Oh, James Hanna. Oh, Bernie.
Bernie's gone.
Oh, I worked with Bernie.
Wait. I'll go next. David Arnold is gone.
David Arnold is gone, man. Paul Mooney.
Paul is gone. Freddie Soto is gone.
Oh my God, man, we're going. We're moving.
Let me go again?
Yeah, you go again.
Ralphie May is gone.
Ralphie May is gone. God dang it. Who else did we lose, man?
We had 7 so far.
We had 7 so far. Who else did we lose? Oh man.
Let's see
cats,
who else.
Man. Who else did we lose?
Boogie, the young cat. Look, Nick Carthen is gone. Young comic. Boogie from New Orleans is gone. So we're up to 9. I get at least one more.
We got some more.
There's more. Somebody else will come to mind. But again, Patrice, David Arnold, James Hanna,
Barnett, man,
Charlie Barnett. That's old head, but still lived hard.
But still,
I mean, shit. What you gonna go, Rick Avilas? You know what I mean? You
go
real.
You keep going. It's just a matter of. But I say that because I'm telling you, man, this can be a mask. This what we do can be a mask for a lot of things. You know what I mean? It makes people happy, but the people who are doing it are not necessarily happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Deep down. So I say that because it is a sacrifice to give people, no matter what you do.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sacrifice to give to people. You know what I mean? You're sacrificing. Some people sacrifice their whole family life.
Yeah.
Because they weren't there enough.
You can have balance, man.
You can have balance. But there are people who they commit to this thing to the point where, it scars them in some way. Sometimes it depends how you approach it, how you manage it. But this is a unique form, man. That and I always say this: I wouldn't trade. And I ask you this too: I wouldn't trade my humble beginnings and how I started with the pace of the world today.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you, but I feel like there's something
Listen.
really raw in how we, because to be a part of something that became something,
You won't become who you are if you don't start where you start.
You don't.
You don't become who you are if you don't start where you start.
Yeah, you won't. It's impossible because it's just you are. And I use this sometimes. People say, you've ever heard the term "you are what you eat."
Mm-hmm.
People think it's about food, but it's not about food.
It's what you consume.
What you're consuming,
Mm-hmm.
what you see, what you hear, what's around you all the time. That's what you're consuming every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're around comics and you're all backstage and you're all laughing, having a good time, and there's no beef with each other, and now it's a different thing, man. Everybody can't wait to get on and just throw dirt on each other. And I mean, it still happened. It still happened, but it wasn't public.
Oh shit, we ain't need Charlie Murphy. We like just skipping
Charlie
over.
Murphy.
You know
No,
what I
we
mean?
keep being. There's more,
Yeah,
but it's just like, they come to us like that. But the fact is that this is entertainment is a unique thing, man. It really is a unique thing. And
All right, listen, I don't have you long because I know you got stuff to do. But here's the thing that I wanted to ask you about, because Curb, you would say, is the project that really like rocket fuel for you, right? There was no project before Curb that really took you over. Like Curb to me, universally made you a household star.
Yeah. You know what I think? What it is
name a project before that again had you like in the present.
This Curb is it, of course. But I say this. I think when you're in TV and film, I think you are a product of your demographics expanding, right?
That's I understand.
I remember when nobody was watching that show like that. It was people watching Curb,
yeah.
But the demographics.
No, you brought
changed.
the culture.
That's what I'm saying. So
the culture showed up.
Product about demographics,
right? Okay, so you bring the culture to the show.
Right
now, I've heard people criticize your performance because they felt like it was a little coonish, right? And I'm sure you've probably heard that Leon. You know what I mean? No. Let me finish. No. People criticize it because and then I think the juxtaposition between you on screen with Larry David, who's extremely white, and then, first of all, I thought your performance, I'm a fan. Look, I think it's brilliant, right? But again, I'm not going to ignore what people are saying about something because I think it speaks to something that could be problematic about the business that we're in, which is people don't understand the nuance of entertainment, how nuanced it is, right? And the character development for Leon, where Leon came from, who Leon is, and the fact that you specifically were cast to play something is a very complex thing. And the success of character, the success of Leon's, you humanize Leon, right? And it's a fish out of water story, clearly. That worked, right? And so I look at Leon on Curb, right? What would you say your relationship with Larry was on the show as it relates to you being on the show and how you felt on the show and what you felt about being able to perform on the show? Just give me what did you like? Successful? You felt good about it? What was your experience?
I felt great about it.
Felt great. See,
I know 50 Leons.
Okay,
I know 50 white Leons.
You felt
I know 50 black Leons.
Great.
I know.
You showed up to work and had a good time.
How I chose to play the character was ambiguous. I made sure that, he didn't know enough about Leon to judge Leon.
Mm-hmm.
Leon never told you. Do you know where Leon's from?
No.
Do you know do you know his background?
No.
Do you know who his mama is?
Say again?
Do you know who his mama is?
No.
Who his daddy is?
None of that was.
Do you know if he got kids?
Not at all.
Do you know if he even do you know if he has a side
The
job?
answer is no.
A side job
Nope.
outside of being at Larry House?
Nope.
That's how I played him.
Mm-hmm.
I played him like a person that everybody knows, but
Doesn't know anything about.
doesn't know anything about.
Okay.
That's how I played him.
Okay.
Intentionally.
That's fair, and that you were successful doing that.
And I made this motherfucker outspoken.
Yeah.
I didn't make him kick around like he was dancing for Larry.
No.
I made that motherfucker cuss his ass out.
Yep.
I made his ass also give him fucking advice on life, on how he would do shit, correcting his imperfections. I made him knowledgeable. I made him zen-like almost.
Now, was that your work or was that the writers?
It's fucking me.
Okay.
I'm improving. I'm writing my own. I'm writing Leon as I fucking perform it.
Mm-hmm.
The whole show's improvised. So I'm writing this character, and I'm being vague on purpose on some things. I'm giving him stuff. You know, I'll tell him none of your fucking business anytime.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, you know, I'm giving him something.
How much did Larry David appreciate that?
He fucking love that shit.
Yeah, you
because
can tell.
he wanted the character to come off as real as possible. I made Leon come off like a real person. I didn't make him come off like he was snuffleupagus and shit. I made that motherfucker come off like he had some shit going on. I'll be back. I'll see you later, Larry. Fuck you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's intentional with Larry. He's smart. He made a friendship with this guy. You know, they went everywhere together.
Yeah.
What do you think? And Larry asked him, what do you think about this new girl I got? You know, it's intentional. Everything's intentional. Being on a smart show and being on a dumb show is two different things. Smart.
Have you been on a dumb show?
Smart is on 12 years.
Yes.
12 seasons.
Yes.
Smart.
Yes.
Because
smart can stick around.
And I'm on 7 of those 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, there's a way to play this character, and there's a smart way to play him because you're not exposing anything different. Of course, the black family came in, and you know, but everybody was real as hell. Everybody was being themselves, being true to themselves.
No, again, that's why you have to respect it.
Yeah, and they don't sense doing a
it.
show if you're gonna be
If it was
sugarcoated and everything,
authentic,
and making it,
no.
You gotta be real with it, and that's what make people watch it.
Again, so let me ask you this: have you been on a dumb show? You said smart
Yeah,
sticks around.
I've been on a lot of shows.
Let me cut to the point.
I've been on my IMDb is crazy with stuff.
Yes, a lot of credits.
But a lot of credits, a lot of, you know, variety, and a lot of, you know, I've been Real Husbands of Hollywood.
Yes.
You know, I've been on probably 6 pilots. I've been on 4 or 5 shows, you know, but here's my one thing that I got out of it finally, which is being a wingman to everybody. Because I was the go-to friend.
Well, again,
a lot.
Listen, so this brings me to my question. You had a great experience on Curb, right? Mm-hmm. What was your experience on Till Death? Because I was on Till Death as a writer, and you were there as a performer, and so the proximity with me being on the stage, me being in the writer's room, me having access that I had, man, I really was disappointed in that show. You know what I'm talking about specifically?
Oh, yeah, I know. I was very disappointed in the show. So I say, as great as we had some good moments on the show, but I think internally, I think the show definitely had a lot of turmoil, which spills off into, you know, into the real.
Listen, Brad was a jerk. Okay, let me just. I'll say it out loud.
Yeah,
Brad.
A lot was going
Garrett
on. Yeah,
was a jerk. He was a bully on stage. He was a bully on and I don't know
what
he was
you guys too.
uncomfortable.
I saw it. It's fucked up because you shouldn't be privy to everything as an actor, especially as a supporting actor, because you're seeing energies between the writers, between the cast, between the producers, and it bleeds off where you almost wish you weren't there because you're not going to give your best performance no more, because
it just makes an uncomfortable workspace. It just becomes uncomfortable.
Yeah,
and so here's the thing, though, and I'm being transparent.
Yeah.
I take my hat off to you because you powered through an environment that he made uncomfortable. And he made it uncomfortable with unsavory jokes that I thought were targeted. And so therefore, like when I look at the juxtaposition between who you were on Till Death as a wingman and the limited amount of stuff, because again, I would see jealousy. I would see you getting these bigger laughs. And again, when you look at the difference between that and Curb and what Larry embraces and how much more mileage you get out of a healthy relationship in that regard,
Right.
man, it's night and day.
TV, I'm telling you, man, and I tell people all the time, TV is a beast. There's a lot of moving parts there that you have really got to prepare yourself for. And, I say this all the time. You got to do three things. You got to, the old, sometimes you got to be deaf. You got to be blind. And you also got to be, shut your mouth. So there's three levels to everything. You got to pretend you didn't hear what you heard. You got to pretend you didn't see what you saw.
Yeah.
You got to pretend that you wasn't talking to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those are three things I think you have to have a tolerance for in TV. And sometimes it's the luck of the draw.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but once you commit to something, look, I've been on a lot of stuff, man, and I'm gonna tell you something. And I'm looking forward to being on a lot more stuff. But I say that you gain your shield.
Yeah.
You gain your professionalism. You gain things as you go through.
Yeah, you build your armor. You build your armor as you go. Yeah.
And you sometimes you're bigger than the space you're in.
Yeah.
And I also learned, this is one thing I learned. I learned this a long time ago, that no is probably the most powerful word in the business.
Sure.
No is incredible. The power of no is something different, But see, when you're building something, when you're in the industry already, and I don't like chasing money. I'm not a money chaser.
Yeah.
I gotta feel it, and I gotta do it for the right reason, and that's the only way I can do it. I can't I don't like doing stuff because of money. And I feel like you get more money by choosing things that expand your audience, your demographics expand, thus, being able to be in Spider-Man and all this other stuff I've done, to do animation, so much animation and so many TV shows and so many movies, and it's just cool to be in that space where you feel like you're always growing. You know what I mean? And that's something that we need in what we do, is we need the ability to constantly grow and constantly understand how the brain works, how people work, how the climate changes so much in what we do that we almost have to be ready for every little thing that comes our way. And we got to be able to say, a respectful no sometimes to things that we feel like are not going to be something we're going to put 100% in.
Yeah.
If you take something and you show up 30%, 40%, that's not fair to the director, the writers, or anybody. Unless you plan on getting in and you're going to give 150%, 200% every time and allow them to pull you back, that's the best way to work to me.
Okay.
You go hardcore and let them adjust you backwards.
Yeah.
You don't come in there half-assing it, and you got to turn the shit up, and you don't know how to turn it up.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah.
Man, we can do this shit all day. I'm telling you.
No, we
man.
can. So
It's deep. And I think I'm a perfect person because I got a chance to do so many different things, from writing on SNL to being on Curb Enthusiasm, being in movies, being on animation, being a brand spokesman numerous times.
Can't land in Vegas without seeing your face.
And look, all that is a part of you attach your sensibilities, you attach who you are, you attach your talents to whatever. If you can do that, if you can attach your talent to anything in any different genre at any different time of your life, and you can entertain yourself as much as you entertain people,
Yeah.
you're unbeatable. You can't be beat because you're a chameleon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're able to be seen different places, and you're not stuck having to do the same thing over and over again. You know, and I told a lot of my friends when we was in New York and I just started doing stuff. I said, man, don't get stuck doing this. Just this. Start going on auditions. Start doing this. Start doing that. Start getting out, man. Start, let people see you. You can do other things. Otherwise, you're gonna be stuck in these smoky ass comedy clubs forever.
Yeah.
And I told a lot of people that, and they see what I mean now because, I mean, literally, I used to be an extra. I did everything.
Yeah.
I did it all, man. I did that because I wanted to feel how it felt to be on a set. I didn't have no fucking lines, but I wanted to see how they changed.
Yeah, you want to be there. Yep.
I wanted to see how they gave notes. I wanted to watch all that shit because I wanted to know how it would feel if I ever got a chance to be a producer or a director or a writer. I wanted to see what that was. You know what I mean? Shit, man. Chris Rock show. I can name so many beginnings that are crazy, and everybody was in a different place.
Right.
Everybody was getting their trajectory of where they wanted to be at.
Right.
Nobody was already here, and it was unbeatable, untouchable. Everybody was still going upward.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you've done some. You got a body of work that is enviable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is what we're gonna have to do, like, because I know I gotta wrap you. You got to get out.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about cars or whatever, but we have to do that on another episode.
Oh Lord,
Mr. Lincoln Man, and other cars and toys.
God.
But we'll again, I got to bring you back. But let me ask you this before you go. First, who makes you laugh right now?
Oh shit, man. I'm a comedic actor guy. I love comedic actors.
So who's the person that stands out? Who, like, when I say who makes you laugh, just like,
oh shit, man.
who's the one person is like that stands out to you? Is like, oh, this is the person that when I want to laugh.
You know what I like, man? I just like characters, man. I'm a character guy. Like I love who else I love, man? Who else do I love? Oh,
Not who else. You ain't named one person yet, so not who else. Who?
I love Walton Goggins. I love Andy McBride's. I love Chris Rock.
Yeah.
I love Kevin. I love I just love seeing people enjoy what they do, man. And these are people who are friends of mine.
Nope, that's not. But that's a different question.
But
I'm saying who makes you laugh?
Yeah. These are the guys that make me laugh.
Okay,
I laugh more. I don't watch stand up.
Yeah.
I don't watch it. I just don't. I don't watch a lot of stand up.
The second
Unless a
person
friend
that
of mine
said
has something he wants me to see, I watch it. But I don't watch a lot of stand up. I like to see. I might watch a little bit of it just to see what they're doing. But a lot of times I already know what they do.
Yeah.
So I'll watch it just to like. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. But I don't like immerse myself in watching stand up every day. I'll watch actors because I want to see how they took on this character. You know, how they found this thing. You know what I mean? So I just love watching actors the most.
Okay.
So those are people who I like to watch.
Cool.
I like watching Curb. I like watching Larry. I used to watch that shit so much. I was like this. I couldn't believe.
You studying?
I've studied the show to the point where I willed myself on that shit. My wife told me I was going to be on the show, and I literally, things had to go away. And that's another thing. Don't be afraid to have confidence in yourself to get rid of motherfuckers. I got rid of people to the point where sometimes you clear the way for something to come in.
Sure.
If you have all that stuff, something can't get in. I had to clear the plate in order for something to come in. And Curb got a chance to come in.
Yeah.
So for me, and that's another thing. Believe in yourself. Have confidence in who the fuck you are. Know you're going to show up. Know you're going to get another job. Just know it. Just fucking believe it and know it.
Got it.
You know what I mean? And that's my one thing I would give to young cats out there doing it. Believe in what the fuck you do.
This is the last one, and then we out of here. Mount Rushmore of comedy.
Oh,
Who's on your Mount Rushmore? Who's the four?
Richard,
Eddie.
I love George Carlin.
Richard, Eddie, George Carlin. You got one more.
Oh, I'm such a fan of what we do, man. This dude, Chris Rock, man.
Oh, Chris,
Let me tell you
yeah.
something. This Chris,
Yeah.
the pacing,
Yeah.
machine gun Chris.
Yeah.
Yo, man.
The line pace,
Ain't
nothing like it.
I have never seen shit like that in my life. That
Yeah.
someone took control of their stage like that.
So?
and fucking unapologetically.
And then therefore,
and fucking boom.
yeah.
Those
Therefore, Richard, Eddie, George.
Eddie.
No, I did.
and
Richard
Chris,
and Chris.
and Chris.
There's your Rushmore.
That's my Rushmore.
Okay,
man.
cool. Ladies and gentlemen, his name is JB Smoove. My name is Royale Watkins. This is the I Am Stand Up podcast, man. Thanks for doing the show, bro.
Come on, man. We do this all
Thank
day,
you,
baby.
brother.